Welcome back everybody to our intermediate and advanced Civil 3D design training series. In this video we're going to take a look at 3 and 4 center curves specifically related to intersections. We're going to take the information from our previous video, we're going to apply them to our corridor. Now creating 3 center curves in intersection is not an overly large deal because it's built into the tool. When we create an intersection we can just specify it to be a 3 center curve. However, 4 center curves, we need to do something different. Now, I have defined my alignment already, so I've created a 4 center curve with the radiuses from the previous video, and I will just put them briefly on screen here again. And we see here on the right hand side 440, 50, 15 with our lengths, our 3 different lengths here. And we built the 3 radius curves out of that. I'm also going, or the radius curve out of that. I'm also going to use the 454 for the 3 radius curve on the west corner when we go to make the intersection. Now there is going to be a little bit of back and forth. We're going to have to change some targeting. We're going to have to apply different baselines and whatnot for specifically the northeast corner here. But Civil 3D should generate the northwest corner just fine for the 3 center curve. So I'm going to just right now run the command create intersection, and I'm going to have it specified at the end of that point, and up should pop our intersection creation tool wizard. I'm going to call this west intersection and leave everything default and hit next. Remember to check your alignments and what profile it's using. We don't want to inadvertently use our existing ground, we want it to use design ground. So I have my 2 roads, both focused on design ground. Now I'm going to look at my offset parameters of my primary road, and I'm going to just pick this off the drawing because I forget what it is. And I want it to go from basically there to there, and that's 12.5 meters. And my secondary road, I believe, is a 4.5 meter offset. Now I'm going to go into the curb return parameters for the corners. Now this is where we could type in the radius. If our radius is 9 or 10 or 15, we could type it in here. However, if we click this drop down arrow here, we see that we can have a 3-centered arc. And Civil 3D asks you what the curve 1 radius and length are and the curve 3 radius and length, and it only asks for the curve 2 radius, and now it just assumes that the curve 2 is our floating curve. So my curve 1 radius is 36 meters with a length of 9.024. My curve 2 radius was 12. We'll go back to 36 and 9.024. This is going to create it for the northeast quadrant. Again, click next to ensure we do the other corner as well. And we're just gonna end up deleting one of these, but good practice. 9.024, 36, 9.024, and we'll go 12. And we'll hit OK. So we've set both the offset parameters and the curve return parameters, and we'll hit next. And this is where we add in which assemblies we want to use. Now, naming things in your drawing, very, very, very important, so we know what we're picking. I'm going to pick my curb return right side, my arterial street entire, and we might have to switch these out. We might have to modify them after. And we can go ahead and do that from the corridor properties if we have to. So I will just get this done quickly and then we'll hit OK. All right, I've hit OK and we now have our intersection here. However, we can see that there are some major issues. Now this is still a bug in Civil 3D. I do have a previous video of it, but if we go into corridor properties, I'll quickly show you what's wrong and then I'll go and fix it. If we look at either of these, we'll just look at the northeast quadrant and we look at the targeting. What Civil 3D does is it stretches the sidewalk. It's taking that sidewalk line and stretching it to the other side of the drawing. I don't know why it does this, where it should, instead of the sidewalk, it should target or stretch your left lane. Again, this has been a bug in the program for probably 3 or 4 years now. So naming your objects properly and including them in the corridor in the right way to fix your targeting. So I'm going to pause the video right now and I'm going to go ahead and fix this. All right, I fixed my intersection with the targeting. As we see now, the northeast and the northwest corners, the 3 center curves, if I click on the alignment, we have a curve, a curve, and a curve. They are now targeting the right or left-hand side of my arterial street and the center line of my north-south road. Now I need to go ahead and delete this northeast corner. However, we're going to do something slightly different here. Instead of deleting it and recreating it, we're just going to go into the corridor properties and change the parameters. However, we want part of our road, so the center section here, we needed to target this alignment the entire way. So I'm going to stretch this alignment out to the endpoint of this alignment, so they're at the same location east-west. And then I can go and start modifying my corridor properties. Now there might be a bit of back and forth here as we try and figure things out and get different items to work. We're also going to have to stretch this alignment out a little bit as well. Now it looks like I messed my offsets up on my road here. However, that is okay. We can come in and edit our offset parameters. This will be 4 1/4. Four and a quarter. There we go. And that Civil 3D should rebuild all that, and they should then line up in that one location. Then they do. Now I'm going to go into my corridor properties, and I'm going to specifically look at my northeast quadrant. It is using the alignment that Civil 3D made. However, I want it to use my alignment that I made. And if I can find it in the list here, west intersection northeast side is what I called it. And my vertical baseline, west intersection northeast side design. Now I have gone through and I've created the alignment. I've created the profile. I created a design ground theoretically based on where my curbs would be. It can all be modified and adjusted after. Now it is going to apply that to this entire side. And if we look at the targets, this is something I guess Autodesk has fixed in the previous version. Usually when you change your baselines, it can clear out some of these targets. So I'm targeting this alignment here. I'm targeting that Monterey Parkway there. And I am also doing that. I guess it's switched it to the sidewalk here. I want to have my left lane target the elevations that have already been created. Now, when we click OK, we are going to get some broken corridor pieces here. There's going to be overlapping corridors. Hopefully we don't crash. And it looks like it built just a part of it here. So I'm going to go back into corridor properties. And I am going to remove this one region. And I'm going to stretch this region over to where it needs to go. So I'm telling my center region to extend all the way to the right. We've got my other region in the center here. Now in the corridor properties, we didn't tell this northeast corner, the start and end stations. So I'm going to have it go from the start to the very end. And I'll rebuild that, and it should target properly. And then we have a bit of the residential street here to clean up. And if you can find the right piece, that one there, I want this to be my residential street left side only, I believe. And then we can drag this piece up to match the rest of the road. And my shift right click's not working, so I'll just drop it approximately where it needs to go. And we'll give Civil 3D a minute here to figure it out. All right, so I also had to extend this alignment that Civil 3D has created up to the intersection so my corner would track along it. Now, because we have been playing with targets, there are, or not targets, we've been stretching assembly pieces and corridor pieces. The information does not 100% match. So in this case, again, we're going to have to specify the end station, and I want the end station to be right there so it ties those pieces together. And I'll get it as close as I possibly can just for now. And I did the wrong one. All right, back to corridor properties. My end is actually down here and my start would be up there. And this all goes along with the direction of travel that you're driving. So there's my two corners. Now, I have my, like I said, I have my alignment. I've got my profile over here based on the design ground. Let's turn the surface on for this and see what it looks like. So I'm going to go under surfaces. I'm going to create a new entry. I'm going to name this west intersection. I'm going to add a boundary just so it cleans it up. And we're going to hit OK and rebuild. All right, the surface didn't seem to show up. I wonder if it has to do with the boundaries that seem to, again, be a little bit bugged lately. So I'll remove the boundary and I'll hit OK. And no, the surface still does not show up. Oh, because I didn't add any codes into it. So we'll add a code. We'll hit OK. And let's see if we can re-add the boundary. We'll rebuild. And here we have our corridor surface. Now it is a little bit badly sloped in here because of my design ground that I have picked to use. So I've got it tying into just my curb returns on the top and the bottom. However, you'd want to find the elevation on this side because it would be the same on the other side. So we have 1075 293. So that is where the profile on this side should be located. So 1075 293, it's already located there. And this one should tie into the other residential road. I'm going to combine my two surfaces together so we can see the surface from this road joined in with the surface from this road. All right, I've joined my two surfaces together. I simply created a final surface called full design, and I pasted my two other surfaces in. So I have my regular road section, and I have my new intersection section. Now I have stretched the corridors apart in order to facilitate some of these curves. I'm just going to drag this one back, and try and snap it right into there so that it at least cleans this section here up. Now the two surfaces tied together don't look overly terrible. We have a nice smooth transition. Granted, there are some triangles that need to be fixed. Typical Civil 3D stuff, you need to fix your triangles in this location. And also we have a bit of a steeper slope section here that we don't really want. We want to bring that up a bit. So this is around, if we go to the alignment, if I can find the alignment, so there's station 50. So if we hover our mouse around this alignment, my northeast side, station 84. This is where we can go to the profile now, and I can edit my profile geometry, and I can add a new PVI. And I'm going to raise that up just a little bit. We'll place it roughly in there. We should try and match the slopes from the one road to the other road. I will rebuild my corridor and we'll see what it does to my surface in there. So it has increased the slope of that a bit. Again, like I said, you'll want to match the slope from this road on the end of this alignment, and you'll want to match the slope of this road from the end of this alignment. However, let's take a quick object viewer look of this intersection now with our 3 and our 4 center curves. We see on the left hand side here we have our 3 center curve, and like I said, just some triangles that need to be cleaned up, and I'll show you how to do that in the end of this video. And on the right hand side we have our 4 center curve. You can now go ahead and create your traffic island with just plain feature lines and do a stepped offset and raise the top of the traffic island up. Now to quickly fix these triangles, and part of this is because I have a residential curb turning into a main road curb, so we have the one you can drive on attaching to the straight face curb, and sometimes Civil 3D just doesn't do it properly. But under my surface here, and I'm under my full design surface, I can come in under my edits and I can start adding lines, and basically, or essentially, I want to trace where the triangle should actually be. So I'm manually connecting the triangles together in order to facilitate a little bit better looking of that curb and gutter. And this is where the actual transition takes place from the rolled to the straight face curb. So we're not going to get much better than that. I will quickly turn the triangles off. We will take a quick look at our object viewer in that northwest corner now to see the better looking triangles. And this is exaggerated 10 times. So essentially, just a quick recap of this video. We created a 3 and a 4 center curve. I had to define my own alignment for the 4 center curve with its own profile, with its own design ground that we can then tweak and modify afterwards. The intersection tool will create a 3 center curve just fine. We don't have to do much tweaking for that. However, we took the 3 center curve on the northeast section and we modified it to the alignment that we created for the 4 center curve. So essentially I'm taking what Civil 3D made with the intersection, I'm just applying the other alignment to it with the other design ground. Now we did have to fix that bug that was in Civil 3D where it still targets the sidewalk to the center lines elsewhere in the project. But again, that was just going into the targeting under corridor properties. Look at the targets for the 2 corners. And instead of having it be on the right sidewalk, switch the width targets to be on the lanes. The 2 lanes, or I guess the 1 lane, not the sidewalk pieces that are being stretched. So that was a video on how to create 3 and 4 center curves inside of your corridor.